I was once working at a fast food restaurant. Working there stopped me from eating from this place ever again. It's everyone's favorite spot to get burgers and fries, and it seems like no matter what people tell you, people still continue to eat because how cheap it is. But let's start with the customers. Always be nice to your servers, because I had a couple of coworkers that would take the burger meat, rub it onto the floor, and serve it to the customers that came off rude. The restaurant had mice, and if they found something, they got to it. There was a particular day where I accidentally left out the burger buns, and the mice, of course, got to them. On my way to toss them into the trash, my manager stops me and says, "We're low on stock for the burger buns. We need to keep those." And they were served to multiple families. There's way more dangerous things that went down, but if you guys want me to disclose everyone's favorite restaurant, let me know down below if I should make a part. Part 2 of the most disgusting fast food restaurant I've ever worked for. And here's a couple of things I think you should know. The hiring process is super easy. You literally just gotta be 16. Okay, so back to the food. When it came to preparing food, the guys in the back that would prepare the food would never change their gloves. They would go from touching doors, cleaning things, to back to preparing food again. I'm pretty sure most of the food they made was contaminated. Our manager was the worst. She loved the food they had and sometimes would pick up a batch of fries with her bare hands and would just eat as she worked. Half the time when she got done with counting money, she wouldn't wash her hands neither. And y'all know how dirty money is. Now exposing the restaurant. I said if you guys comment down below, I might just tell you guys what fast food restaurant it was. But if this TikTok blows up, I do not want to get sued. Just know they make burger, fries, and they're the most popular fast food restaurant in the world.
Story time about how this boy stabbed me with a pencil in kindergarten. So a little background information, I was 6 years old and in kindergarten, obviously. I'm not gonna lie, this story kind of shows that it doesn't matter how old a child is, they can literally still be very mean and yeah. Well, during the middle of the school year, there was this new kid who came to our class and his name was Freddie. Now, Freddie coming in the middle of the year was kind of sad because everybody already had their friends. They didn't really want to talk to the new kid. And what made it even worse was the fact that he was a teacher's pet. And he was the teacher's favorite. So he was always picked to go up to the board and be the line leader, which made the kids hate him even more. For example, during lunch, Freddie would go and try to sit with some of the kids, and they would call the teacher over, say that he was doing something that was annoying them or really gross. And the teachers would remove him and put him at a table alone by himself. And I was one of the kids that didn't really make fun of him. I just kind of sat back and laughed, which I know is terrible. But like for part 2. Part 2 about this boy who stabbed me with a pencil in kindergarten. So like I said, everybody would pretty much bully him, and I was one of the kids that just sat back and laughed, didn't say anything to him directly. Eventually, we were getting in trouble for discluding him. We would all have to stay inside during recess with our heads down on the desk in the dark. So then everybody act like they were going to include him. Like the one time they were like, okay, we're playing hide and seek, you know, you go hide. And then they never went to find him. So then this kid actually started getting violent. My guess is because the teachers and principal were not doing anything about it. When everybody was walking, he would purposely trip kids. This one time, this girl brought in pencils for the whole class, and she didn't give him one. So he said that he felt sick the one day, and all the kids went out to recess, and he went around and broke every single pencil. And I came in and I found it, so I told the teacher. And then during nap time, he put his mat by me. And when I finally fall asleep, he literally comes over and stabs me in the back of the neck with a pencil.
Throughout elementary school, I would always be that kid who'd be picked up last by their parents. It could be freezing cold and my mom would show up 2 hours later. My teacher already knew this routine, so 30 minutes after school, she'd make me wait in the office. And there was always crazy stuff going on in the office. It'd either be a kid, a parent, or a staff member yelling in the office, sometimes all at the same time. This one time, I was sitting in the office next to the worst kid in our grade. You know, the one who would always get in trouble? Let's call him Jose. Apparently, he was in a big fight, and they were waiting for the other kid to come with his parents. However, the secretary lady thought the fight was between me and Jose. So where are your parents? She asked me. My mom won't be here in a while. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm always here though. I'm a regular. Well, look at you, all smart. Always that snap. Lo and behold, my mom walks in, and the secretary starts snitching. Like, she pulls a 6'9". Ma'am, your son was in a big fight with this other kid, and we're here to figure out their punishments. And my mom was furious. There's more, like for part 2. So this staff lady tells my mom that I was in a quote-unquote fight, and my mom began to yell at me in the office. Mijo, ¿por qué estabas peleando con este niño? I wasn't, I tell her. And Jose, who was actually in the fight, was all like, ooh. So I tell Jose, dude, it wasn't between us. Please tell her. Yeah, it actually wasn't. Whatever. At the end, she calms down. On the ride home, though, my mom is asking me questions as if I was actually in the fight. So if he punched you, would you have punched him back? Sure, yeah, I would. And when I said I would, my mom summoned her chancla. ¿Qué dijiste? So now I'm in trouble for an imaginary fight. And I'm trying to unsummon her chancla. I'm like, no, never mind. You know I don't condone violence. I know, I'm sorry. I'll do the dishes when we get home. Always hit her with the chores. She finally calms down and puts the chancla away for next time. Ooh, that was the last time I was ever back in the office. I'd just rather wait in the cold after that. By the way, thank you guys so much for all the recent love. I wanted to make this story just one video, but it was way too long. And I did not think part 1 was gonna blow up that quickly. So thanks for your patience.
So today in English class, our English teacher was going through the rules again, just because I guess like some people were forgetting them or like breaking the rules. So anyway, she was like, just to remind you guys, there's no food in class, no talking to your neighbor without permission. And if I catch you with your phones, then you're gonna have it taken away and your parents are gonna have to come get it. And when she said that part about the phones, this kid raised his hand, and he's like a really creepy kid. And he was like, well, what if I shoot you? Like, hold up. What? You just threatened to shoot a teacher? So I just like looked at him and I scooped my desk away. And the whole class went silent. Like nobody said anything. We're all just staring at him. Like we were all just in shock. Like, did he just threaten to shoot a teacher? After like 10 seconds of it being like completely silent, he reached in his backpack.
Okay, so story time. So let's start from the beginning. I have 2 brothers. We'll call the oldest one Mark and the youngest one Robert. So my brother Mark moved to New York for college, so once in a while we go and visit him. My parents decided before my summer break ended to go and visit Mark for like a little vacation, because why not? So my parents are the type of people who like to get to airports hours before our flight. So we get there, go through security and buy some snacks. The lines were long, so it took up some time. We headed in our area and we looked through the windows and it was thundering and raining really hard. A few minutes later, the speakers come on and they say our flight is delayed. So we're like, okay, whatever, we'll just wait, because what else are we going to do? So around 2 hours pass, my dad goes up to the front desk where our gate is and asked if our plane was ready. He said no, so we waited a little bit longer. Then my dad asked again and they said no again. And this happened for like 4 more times. Till finally they said yes, we're literally waiting for you guys. You're delaying the plane. Like, huh? Like for part 2. Part 2. We grabbed all our stuff, ran to the gate, went through, and went on the plane. Once we got on the plane, everyone was so mad. Before we even stepped foot on the plane, everyone was yelling at us, booing us, saying it's our fault they're late to whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's our fault the plane is delayed. There was even this one point where a lady started clapping, saying, finally, you guys made us wait long enough. My parents got mad and kind of started yelling back because she was being rude, to the point where we all almost got kicked out. But luckily we didn't. But it literally wasn't our fault. The person in the front desk wasn't telling us anything till the last minute. But anyways, we put everything away. We sat in our seats. My mom was a little embarrassed, but I just didn't care. And neither did my dad.
I have very low standards for McDonald's. I think we all do, but I especially have low standards for McDonald's. One time, I ordered a hot chocolate, and when they handed me my drink, I could smell that it was coffee, and I said, oh, this isn't the drink I ordered. And the girl just looked at me and said, okay, but we're really busy right now. And I said, can you remake it? And she said, I said, we're really busy right now. And I was like, okay. And I took the coffee, and another time I went through and I ordered a pie, and they gave me like a cold pie, and I was just like, it's okay, it's McDonald's, it is what it is. But all I'm saying is if somebody goes to McDonald's on Thanksgiving at dinner time and orders a cheeseburger, that's really sad. And the least you could do is give them a warm cheeseburger, like the Kraft single on this thing, fresh out of the fridge. It is so cold. Patty, cold. All of it, cold. And my aunt's gonna see this and get really angry because she did invite me over, but she lives like 3 hours away, and I was like, that is such a far drive. But then I realized that if I don't go today or tomorrow, the pie is gonna be gone. I'm not gonna tell her that. I'll be like, I just missed you guys so much, but really they're gonna run out of pie by tomorrow night. So I'm leaving for my aunt's tomorrow. Don't feel bad for me. Also, I didn't want to ruin their family Thanksgiving because I would have strolled in my rainbow shirt and my cousin would have said, "Is there an agenda behind that rainbow?" And I would be like, "Yeah, there's an agenda behind this rainbow to annoy you." Because my longest standing holiday tradition is imagining the fights that I'm going to have with my family and planning out what I'm going to say. And then when the moment comes, I don't say anything. Spending the holidays alone sounds sad, but it's actually so peaceful.
I'm going to be telling you a scary childhood story. When I was 2 years old, my mom passed away. My dad wasn't in the picture, so I went to go live with my grandparents. My grandparents lived in a super old home that was built in the 1800s. I was a very imaginative child. So when I told my grandparents that I used to see people in the house, they just didn't believe me. There was one lady in particular that I would always see. She would sit at the end of my bed and watch me fall asleep. I wasn't scared of her because I thought she was an actual person. Plus, I was super little, so nothing even crossed my mind. At this point, I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember her talking to me constantly. She even sang me the song Rockabye Baby to get me to go to bed one night. Every single day when I would get home, I could see her in my window. At that point, I thought she was just waiting for me. She just wanted to be my friend, right? But as I got older, things started to get really weird between me and her. She wasn't this nice lady anymore. Stay tuned for part 2. This is part 2 of the lady in my room who would sing me lullabies to get me to go to bed. No one else in my family could see her. She even told me that she was my mom. I really believed her. If you remember, my mom passed away when I was 2. So, it seemed pretty real that it was my mom. I didn't really remember what my mom's face looked like when she passed away. And this lady, could be my mom. She continued to sing me lullabies every single night when I would go to bed. She would always be waiting for me in the window when I would get home from school. But I figured out pretty quickly it wasn't my mom. My mom was a sweet, kind-hearted person. This spirit was evil. She would get mad at me every single time any of my friends would come over. She told me she could see my future and that I was gonna go to hell after I died in a car accident. It scared me so much, but no one believed me. It got to the point where I never even wanted to go in the car because I thought I was gonna die. She convinced me I was evil. Stay tuned for part 3. This is part 3 of the lady who used to sing me lullabies to get me to go to bed. This spirit was evil, and she started to convince me that I was evil too. She convinced me that I would go to hell because I was a horrible child, even though I wasn't. She convinced me that every single person in my life hated me. She even started to control my dreams, and I would wake up every single night screaming at the top of my lungs from a night terror, and she would be sitting at the end of my bed. This went on for years. When I turned 9, my grandpa passed away. And because it was a really big house, me and my grandma moved to a different house. And the evil spirit was just gone. I never saw her again. But was she really gone? When I was 15, I went to a psychic. The moment I walked into the room, she could feel a dark energy enter the room. She told me that someone was following me every single step I took. And when she said that, I knew exactly what she was talking about. After that, I went to a medium, and after many sessions with her, the dark presence was finally gone.